Stress.
Stress. Stress.
Okay, so I'm really here to tell you what you guys got to do. So take note. Visualize. Breathe easy. Get a massage. Try a tonic. Smile. Stop gritting your teeth. Compose a mantra. Get a puppy. Practice some mindfulness. Stretch a little bit. Make some plans. And tiptoe through the tulips. You guys get the idea, right? We can have these things thrown at us all the time from people, right? These trite little motivational mantras and things that people tell you to just kind of figure out how to fix your stress. It's not that these things don't have their place in someone's life. The question is, what is the fit for you and when? And what does your brain feel about changing in general? What can we do to get our brain to change so it can receive new information and new ideas so we can actually do maybe some of those tips that fit our life? The first thing is try something different. Do a new routine. You go to work a certain way on a certain route, go a different one. You like bananas? Eat apples. I mean, it can be as trivial as that. You should have a bunch of new things going on every day, up and down that normal curve, that are really consciously interswitched into your routine. That really will shake up and bring out what we call neuroplasticity. This is a new cutting-edge area of neuroscience that's basically saying you can change your patterns of neural networks that have wired. Neurons that fire together, wire together. You may have heard that, or maybe I just say that with my nerdy friends. But anyways, what we want to do is actually break those cycles of patterns that are wired. The second thing is you really actually see now a lot more online, these online brain games. They're technically used when I was practicing neuropsychology. We would put a lot of people who had brain injury on these internet sites to work, memory, attention, executive functioning, some of the things that were impaired by a stroke or what have you, or concussion. But these we're finding are really good for the normal person as well, because it is getting the brain pretty much, it's taking the brain and going to gym, and it's working out its own biceps and such. So that can be really critical as well to getting new neural networks firing. The other thing that it has a little more philosophical edge, but it really does shake up the brain, is to what I call BS out on yourself. This is a very interesting brain tip because one of the deepest and darkest parts of your stress, in my opinion, most people's are, is that we're locked into a narrative ourselves, a narrative of the world, a way of seeing things. If you look at why we're sometimes staying inside pain and suffering chronically, it's not that we don't want relief. Sometimes it's that we want pride more. And the greater prison at times for our stress problems is that we're tied to our self-narrative. We're tied to the story we tell ourselves. That really accounts, in my sort of off-the-record opinion, for a lot of the stress. And so how do you break that? Literally turn around stories, turn around narratives, turn around your perceptions of people. If you have a person in your life that you had a conflict with, what if you flipped it around and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday wore their perspective? This is really big in changing the brain because sometimes we are more connected to our pride than to the hope and change that we're actually seeking. So that can be very helpful. So what you want to do is constantly challenge your thinking. Another thing that I talk a lot about with my clients that can help change the brain and to receive new thinking is a concept we call boundaries. What it is a psychological line for where my sense of self stops and someone else begins. We really blur that a lot. And if you guys have kids, you guys know how this is blurred rather regularly in your home every day when you tell them to take down their laundry. Most of the times we are actually seeking something verbally. So we're saying, I want my child to take down laundry. Well, what happens when it's not done? We violate the boundary, so to speak, and we go do it, and then we get mad at them for not doing it because it wasn't done in the time frame we wanted, the way we wanted, right? So we in this neurotic cycle of almost breaking the natural law of boundaries, where if they don't do it, that is a choice, and that stress that I'm feeling is because I'm hopping in their backyard now and calling that a problem. We do a lot of that in our life, and I think learning the boundary skill is huge for a stress management piece. And the final tip I'd throw out is the mother of them all, in my opinion, which is exercise. What I love from my side of the fence about exercise is it creates something we call a brain-derived neurotrophic factor in your brain. That's a mouthful. But what it does is it's basically a warrior in your brain that's fighting the cortisol and all the stress hormones from this chronic stress stuff of work and life. So when you're doing something over and over, and if it's not good and it's aversive, the cortisol and the stress hormones are increased, but these warriors are going to sit there and knock out all the cortisol because you've been exercising all the time. Very, very good thing to do. Very big thing to throw into your routine. So, again, these are some really, I think, very interesting yet, I think, very helpful tips to get the brain to change first before you try any of those stress tip mantras that we started this segment with. Again, they have their place in your life, but it has to have its place in the brain first. Because the way I see it, a healthy lifestyle is a free one, where your life truly is free. I'm amazed by the stories day after day of people that are, quote, successful. At the end of the day, they traded in a heartbeat. So when you're dealing with chronic stress, it's about honoring freedom again and looking at sort of this idea of doing more what you want and not doing what you don't want while hopping into this life of expectations, because that is just a part of reality. And this idea of control and expectations is a dance that really is run by the man behind the curtain we call the brain. And it's time for you guys to take back your brain.